guys, it's Sam, and today I'm going to do a second version, redo, revisiting of my original Grinch book tag. So this is, I think, the first book tag I ever created, if one of the only book tags I ever created, but it was a Christmas book tag back in 2014, which is the year I first started my channel, and it is about more negative things about books. This was before book tags were getting negative, before we had the unpopular opinions book tag or anything like that, so it's real throwback, but that was before I read a lot of books that I have now since read, so I'm going to be updating these questions with new answers. Number one is half the lights on the Christmas tree are burnt out. First off, let me just tell you that we bought a pre-lit Christmas tree a couple years ago, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago max, and all of the lights are burnt out. So now we have to just string it. And we've tried to get the guns to try to figure it out, and Gerald's literally stringing the Christmas tree lights right now. Name a book, series, or character that started out good but then went downhill. I can't say definitively if this is going to completely go off the rails, but the one that I'm most recently thinking of is Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. This is a series that started out pretty good, got better, and then with the last book, 5 out of 6, which is the most recent one to come out, Crystal Storm, plummeted. Completely plummeted, went off the rails. So I am very nervous for this book. The last book has gotten pushed back already, so I'm hoping that that gives it time to be great because I've invested so much time in this now. But oh man, has this gone from being a series that I was like ride or die for to a series where I'm like, ugh, I really don't know how this is gonna go. Question number 2, annoying Great Aunt Sally who will not leave you alone. You know, the family member that's asking about what's your major in school again? And do you have a boyfriend? And all that annoying stuff. Name a book that you didn't enjoy but everyone else seems to love so it never goes away. I would say The Bronze Horseman, but that's had a very recent shift where people are really starting to hate it or loving tearing it down, so I can't mention that anymore for this. I wouldn't say that I hate this series, but A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab is so incredibly overhyped to me that even people outside of the book community, like BookTube or whatever, hype it a ton, and I don't think it's that good. I actually prefer Victoria Schwab's other, YA stuff a lot more than her adult stuff, because so far I haven't really liked her adult stuff, and yes, I'm going to read Vicious. You guys don't need to tell me I know. I'm going to. I know. I should have by now. I haven't. I'm sorry. I don't own it. Blah, blah, blah. But this series just keeps getting brought up, and I was actually listening to Book Riot recently, the Book Riot podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts, and they were recommending it on there, and I was like, no! Because it's just not that great! And I'm like, they don't read a ton of genre fiction, I feel like, so I'm like, is this the only genre fiction you've read recently? Because I understand it being fun and fluffier and whatever maybe, but there's so much better stuff to recommend that's not this. And I know it's really well loved, I'm probably gonna get people being like, I love it, it's my favorite series, and that's fine, but I don't love it, and that's the whole point of the question. You know? Number 3, your pets keep knocking over the Christmas decorations. That's why we have to include all of ours either higher up or within hurricane glasses. Name a character that kept messing things up for everyone else and you can't pick a villain. So since I've already mentioned Fallen Kingdoms once, I can't mention Lucia, who can honestly choke. So I'm actually going to mention Will Herondale from The Infernal Devices, at least the first couple of books. So Will is not a villain, he's a very well-loved character, I know everyone loves Will Herondale. But the first couple of books he's being really stupid, especially to Tessa, and he has a really bad reason for it. Yes, there's reasons later on, but the reasons are poor. They're poor. So I just am like, stop being a pain in the ass, stop making Tessa upset, stop being a jerk to everyone, and for a really stupid reason, stop. But once he stops, he's fine. He's still not my favorite, but he's fine. He grows on me. I learned to like him in a Will kind of way. But in the first part, I'm just like, stop being a brat. Number 4, you hear your parents putting out the presents and learn that Santa isn't real. Name a book that you were spoiled for. Oh man, the ones that I mentioned in my first video of this were the biggest ones that I was spoiled for. But I think I'm gonna say the Throne of Glass books, but it's not I don't really care. I just was hearing things about them as they were coming out. I've only read up to the 3rd book and I have no interest in reading the rest of them. So I know things, but I don't know all of the things. I don't know all the plot. It's not I am spoiled for the endings or anything like that really, but I know things. And I'm not interested. And I trust people that have similar opinions on the books, earlier books that I do that now don't have very high opinions of the series, so it's not a series I plan on continuing. You guys know that. I've talked about it a million times before. It's been a while since I've talked about it, but yeah, that series I think would be the closest that I've come to being really spoiled for something recently. Number 5, it's freezing outside. Name a main character you just couldn't connect with. I know I already mentioned this series, but Lila from The Darker Shade of Magic. Oh my gosh. I'm listening to the books on audiobook now because I just want to finish the last book and just be done with it. But I listen to the books on audio. I even hate the narration. She's so annoying, especially in the second book. She literally has multiple, like, monologues where she's like, I'm not like other girls. Choke. On a more similar note, the main character, whose name I can't even remember from Me, Earl and the Dying Girl, is such a stereotypical teen boy, but like in the worst way, because I feel like a teen boy should be given more credit than this character is portraying. The dumb, crude humor and the like selfishness and the fact that his character arc is pushed along by a girl who has cancer and has barely any agency outside of that. I don't like him. He sucks. Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You is playing on repeat. It's giving you anti-romantic feelings. Name a couple that you couldn't stand. The couple from the Bronze Horsemen. What is it? Alexander and Tatiana. You guys know how I feel about this book and how much I hate it. These two are awful. They're both awful people. She's a little better than he is, but he's a douche and he physically and emotionally abuses her and he's awful. This book is awful and everything about it is awful. But I keep it just so I can hold it up and tell it how awful it is. Number 7, that scratchy homemade wool sweater you got for Christmas years ago but can't get rid of. Show some books that have been sitting on your shelves for a while and you aren't motivated to read but don't have the heart to get rid of. Here's the thing, I have become the unhaul fairy recently, and I bless my own life and hopefully inspire the lives of others to get rid of the shitty books that you don't want anymore. So that no longer applies to me. That's what's great about this, is back in the day when I was just overhauling my TBR, which is fine if you want to do that, that's just not what I'm doing currently right now in my life, and I might flow back to that or it might not. But when I was getting so many books and I wasn't interested in all of them, I had numerous books to hold up for this, but I don't anymore, because if you don't want to read those books, then get rid of them and get them to somebody else who would read them so that they can enrich that person's life instead of taking negative energy and inserting it into your life because you feel guilty about these books or you're never going to get to them or you don't want to read them. There's a ton of books in the world to read. Don't waste your time on books you don't want to read. So, that's how I feel. I will link my recent KonMariing my TBR video where I did a massive unhaul talking about that and hopefully inspiring you to do the same thing, because you don't need books that you're not motivated to read anymore. You can get rid of them. They can go to a better place. I promise. Number 8, Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Name a character death that you are still mad about. So this question was very like divisive when I first created it because people were like, I don't want to talk about characters and spoil people and blah blah blah. And I don't really want to either, but at the same time it is like a good question and a chance to rant about things. So I'm going to do what I did last time and actually put like a spoiler warning for the series I'm going to talk about. So you can skip it if you need to, and I'll just be writing at the bottom because it's good to rant about things, you know? Spoilers for the Mistborn trilogy. I am still so mad about my precious baby Kelsier. I don't believe it's real. I still don't believe it's real. Like, I fully believe, I was like, he's gonna come back. This is a fantasy. I haven't seen his body. He's gonna come back. The second book rolls around. He's good. He can come back. The third book rolled around. Where's he? He's gonna come back. Like, that's how I felt. But thankfully, this series has, like, him still interwoven in it because he's, you know, his religion is kind of based around him as, like, this martyr and blah, blah, blah. So his essence, his spirit is still there. But, like, oh my gosh. Way to just rip out my heart, and that's what books should do. It's a really meaningful character death, but man, am I mad. And one more for the Chaos Walking series, but I'm sure a lot of people have already heard about this one. I do not plan on continuing to read this series, but man, am I pissed about that dog dying. Oh my god. And the movies are coming out, and I plan on watching the movies. I'm gonna have to watch a dog be killed that you can hear its narrative out loud. And I'm going to be an absolute hysterical wreck. Like, how dare? How dare? Like, I don't really like that series. I don't really like that book. Like, whatever. I just don't have any interest to continue. I'm gonna have to watch a precious being be killed. I don't know. It's gonna be traumatic. It's gonna be so traumatic. And it's also gonna be sort of like the Red Wedding, where people that read the books are going to, like, know things, but the people that didn't read them aren't going to know things, and it's going to be like an explosion, and I'm going to sit there and kind of be like, you don't know what's happening. So, yeah, but that's, I'm still mad. Number 9, the malls are overly crowded with holiday shoppers. Ain't that the truth? Name a series that has too many books in it or went on for too long. I don't really have any recently. Like, I mentioned the books in the last one where I felt like they went on for too long. I do have thoughts about Cassandra Clare, like, never ending her series or whatever, but I've only read The Infernal Devices, so I don't have like a real opinion on that, and I'm always a fan of like Lee continuing the Grisha books. So can I really talk about Cassandra when I'm like not mentioning Lee, you know, although I think these are better, but you know what I mean. So there really aren't any series that I feel like have gone on too long, although I'm having my doubts about the Fallen Kingdom series. I feel like I could have gotten wrapped up tightly in like 4 books, but I don't want to keep mentioning that series as being my like series that I'm losing faith in, but man is it. And number 10, The Grinch. Name a main character that you hate. Again, no villains. I mean, Tatiana and Alexander, honestly, can choke. They're awful. I hate them. Lila Bard, who I previously mentioned, is awful. I don't like her. Lucia from Fallen Kingdoms. What is her point? She's become like a series of tropes wrapped up into one character. I don't like her. And my love for Selena Sardathian, is that even her name? I spent so long. People are gonna be like, no, honey! Whatever her name is. Eline Galentius, whatever. My love for her never really grew, and then I stopped reading the series, and it's just kind of like... Well, there's other characters in that series that I really like, and I wish could just be happy, aka Manon. But that is it for my Grinch book tag round 2. I would love to see this go around again. I know we're like partially, you know, into the month already, and it's getting close to Christmas, but if you guys want to do this, please do. I would love to see it like get a little rebirth, you know, years later and see people talking about it. So yeah, it'd be nice, but I'm not going to tag anybody because I tagged people like back then, and most people don't want to redo tags later, but man, it's nice to kind of see the different answers this time around. So comment down below and let me know some of your answers to some of these. Thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys soon. Bye.